get gigs? That's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think you kind of you didn't tell me all the details, but you alluded to a recent experience that you had because I know you've been actively gigging. So, what
Ah.
have you discovered in your pursuit of gigs? What are people wanting, and what are people asking for more these days?
Why, thank you, Bob.
I've,
Well,
I've set it up for you, man. I gave you a softball
yeah.
right over the middle of the plate.
Well, like again, typically in the past, what I would do was I would have a business card. I would have a band picture, usually an 8x10, glossy, color or black and white, depending upon the era when, what was most cost effective. And then you'd have a song list, and then sometimes you have a bio, and then you have like a cassette tape or a CD, whatever. Okay, that was for years. That's what agents wanted. That's what bookers wanted. That's what everybody needed to get the gigs. Now, one thing that kind of changed a little bit is the popularity of what's called a one sheet. And a one sheet's a really cool thing. Basically, it's one piece of paper, either one-sided or two-sided, that usually has like a nice picture of the band, and that has like a little bio, and then on the back or whatever, it'll have your song list, your set list, or some other things, or maybe whatever pertinent information that you think can be covered, and contact information. And then, so what a lot of bands did, in the CD era, was they would have a CD and a one sheet. You know what I mean? Sometimes that was accompanied with a nice glossy picture because people still wanted those. But now, as I'm dealing with agents and bookers, everybody seems to want everything electronically, which is great for me. I have no problem with that. So it seems that when I'm booking gigs, they say, well, send me over your song list, if you're doing cover music, whatever, a bio, just email it to me. And then if you have, a photo or photos, and usually they want a landscape, which is, one that's wider, and a vertical, so a portrait and a landscape. So it's a really good idea to have one of each. And it's also a good idea to have one in color and one in black and white, because the black and whites reprint better for print ads when people put stuff like in the newspaper or the local musicians entertainment paper or whatever. So that's usually still done in black and white. So a lot of bands don't think about that they still need a black and white picture that will reprint well, not too dark, not too creative, nice big faces. So usually what I find is great. You take your one picture, you can make that like your artsy picture with your color and your backgrounds and stuff, and then one of the pictures is usually like nice big faces in black and white. So the one sheet has sort of kind of turned into, for me, like a 1 or 2 page PDF file now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and so like I have a nice big color picture at the top, and then I have a bio, and then the second page I got a black and white shot right on the one sheet, and then I've got the song list. And then what I do, if it's for an agent, I'll actually go to the agent's website and I'll get their logo and their contact information. I'll put it right on there for them, so they can just forward that one sheet as is to their buyers. And what I'll do, if it's for a buyer or a club, I'll actually put something on there, like this was prepared for, this bar, or, something in there that makes it even more personal, because,
Cool.
then they take ownership of it. They can see, that they've already bought you by you putting their name on the promo, so
Now this is interesting. I had never heard this. You customized a PDF that for and like particularly when an agent who was shopping you or whatever to different venues, right?
Right.
Or and so because normally on a one sheet you would have your direct contact info
Yeah, but you don't-
on there.
yeah, you don't want to do that though, because
But when an agent is sending it, you want to take that stuff out and put their information there in its place.
Yeah, see that's an interesting thing, and perhaps we could do a whole show on that, like strategies for working with agents versus booking your own jobs. But see, what I do, you got to remember, in my world, I do all original shows, and I do all cover shows, and I have like these half and half shows I do. So I do all three, And what's interesting is when you're working with agents, and especially cover agents, they have kind of a formula, but they also don't want to be sending people to your website with your contact information on it, which is interesting. Right. So typically with these agents, what you need to do is you need to supply them with everything that they need, a picture, video, sound clips, bios, blah, 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 so they can put it on their own website. and promote you without sending people, because if they send their buyers to your website, what's to stop the buyer from calling you directly and cutting them out?
Right.
So what I do is I make their job even easier, and it's kind of a show of respect, and it's kind of a show of I want to work with you. And I actually, when I create my promo for a particular agency, I actually put all of their contact info in it for them, so it's less work they have to do, and it shows that I'm serious about working with them.
There is that theme again. Make it easy. You've done the work for them. They don't. So if they have 10 bands, they're trying to decide who they're going to put their energy on, and you've supplied them with what they need, they're going to be much more likely to push you and work than have to do the work to create something for another band that doesn't do that for them.
Right. And then the other thing I found out that's really interesting, it varies from buyer to buyer, club to club, agent to agent as far as what they want. Like, for instance, this one agent that I work with, who is really funny. He was very old school. He's been in the business for 40 years, and he was one of these paper everything guys. And recently, nothing's paper now for him. And he says, I can't book a band at all anymore unless you have a good video, which is really interesting because he was so anti that stuff for years. But now it's like, in order for him to stay in business, he needs a picture of the band, a song list, and a video. That's what he wants. End of story. Now, this other agency I'm working for, who's getting me a lot of work, is they don't even care about a video as much as they want the picture, the song list, and audio. All they want are audio, and they want audio clips. They want like 6 to 10 audio clips that are no more than a minute long. And his reasoning was buyers are too busy, and half of them can't sit down and watch a screen, so they just want to listen to it on their phone and say yes or no, and that's that. So I think it's a good idea, and I always say this, Bob, that is, before you do anything, make sure you know what you need, because you could spend all this time making a video and then end up with a buyer of some type, whether it's a venue or a club, an agent, and they don't even want a video. Now you just spent all this money, all this time making a video when you could have just sat down in rehearsal and pumped out, 4 or 5 songs on audio, and that would have been all you would need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a feeling I knew this was going to come up, but basically, yeah, it's like there's no one size fits all. Don't have like a generic message that you send to everybody. It's contacting the person and saying, hey, what can I send? What do you require? What's going to make your job easier? What do you need from me to get this thing to happen? And then deliver that. And I have a feeling the video it probably would be worth making a video because I think that's just a very common thing. There are going to be a lot of venues, agents are going to see you perform, so it's probably wise to do that. But you don't necessarily have to send it to everyone. Just find out what they need. So it's making it easy for them. What are their needs? How can you satisfy those needs so that they can help you? That's the bottom line.
Right. And again, videos, you got to be really careful with videos. And again, this could be another show. Because with a video, okay, so you're making a video of your band, a thing. Most bands are going to put here's the name of our band at the beginning, and then maybe put their website or contact information on it. But again, if you're using it to work with agents, that's very bad. Because the agent doesn't want you putting your phone number on there. They just don't, or your website address. So when you do make these videos, if you're planning on working with agents, again, you may need to make 2. You might need to make one that's edited out with no information on it that you can send every agent to, and one that's exactly the same that has your contact information that you send to venues directly. You know what I'm saying? Right.
And so just the same, and that's easy enough. You just upload 2 separate videos to YouTube and you supply the link to the appropriate contact. And I think it's probably an effective, again, think whenever you're creating any kind of content, ask yourself, who is this intended for, and what do I want them to do? What's the purpose of it? And so I would not have like a full song of a live show. If you're creating a video for a specific purpose of booking gigs, you probably want to have like snippets of songs. I actually did this for my girlfriend and I, Pookie and I, who perform as a duo a lot. It's outdated. I actually need some new video, but I put this montage together at the beginning. It says, here's what you can expect from a Bob and Pookie live show. And it was like, 15 seconds of one song that faded into another venue and another song. And it was all geared toward, here's a sample of what we do live. And then I think at the end it had like the contact info because it wasn't meant for agents. But that's it takes a little bit of editing, a little bit of thought,
let's table the video talk, and let's do a whole episode on that, because there's a lot of things I think we can help people with because there's a lot of mistakes being made in the video world. Because the truth of the matter is, a video can hurt you as much as help you, and I'd like to dig into that in another episode.
Okay, forget we mentioned it, folks. Just
Remember what we said. This is like an appetizer, So
that's right. So something you said earlier, and maybe I don't. I'm trying to force this in because I wanted to say it when we were talking about one sheets. But
Yeah.
so back in the paper days, this thing there was a popular from full press kits with all this, folders and all this stuff with press releases and bios and all this stuff, and then it became very. I think they started with retailers with one sheets, but then they became more also for media and for booking gigs. But think about it. Why did one sheets become so popular? Well, people didn't like going through all the material in a press kit. They wanted, and even before the internet, people were getting overwhelmed, And so what the purpose that one sheets served was making it easy. I just want a quick overview of what this band is, and you could put your photo on a one sheet too, so they could see you, learn about you, see the type of songs the type of press you got, maybe quotes or whatever, all on one page, or maybe they flip it over and look at the second page. So again, it's about respecting people's time and making it easy for them. And so you can apply that philosophy to whatever medium, whether it's paper or plastic or digital or online. And it's a mindset that you have to have when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, I agree. And the jury's still out whether or not you really even need to print these things. I'd say print them as needed. I don't think you need to go with everything these days, with your promo pictures, with your posters. Posters are a little bit different story. A lot of places still do like I don't recommend getting an 8x10 glossy anymore for bands. I think that the things that people use 8x10s for, they can use a PDF and they can send it to the newspaper, or their marketing director can print out one and put it on their marquee, whatever, that's fine. But posters do still seem to have a lot of uses depending upon where you're playing and what you do. There's this one venue I work with, Hearsal Times have changed. I was just there last night till like 4 a.m. And this guy actually bought like this giant industrial laser printer that prints large format. And whenever a band's going to play there, he says, send me a PDF and then I'll print up 500 posters for you, no charge. And then then he wants the bands to go out and like plaster the town with it in return. And that's brilliant. You know what I mean? But there you go. There's the electronic thing happening once again. You know what I'm saying? So
it's or digital meets physical, in which because I think most venues still appreciate having a poster to promote a show in house, and so and again, you can make it easy for the person if you have graphic design skills to create that poster for them, send it to them as a PDF, or if you're in town, if it's a local gig, you can print them off yourself and go by. Like a lot of people, it's still pretty standard where it's like a generic poster, and then there's like a open space with white space at the bottom where you can actually take a magic marker or whatever and handwrite in the date that you're going to be there, and hang. It's that way it's multiple purpose,
Right. So really, to be honest with you, as far as that's what I'm hearing these days. Like nobody's asking me for a CD.
Yep.
Nobody's asking for printed 8x10s, printed stuff. I mean, posters usually, and a lot of times, the venues and stuff. Even the venues. That's true. I forgot about that. This agent, this really old agent I've been working with, like this guy's like about ready to retire. He literally just booked me a gig for today. I mean, we got like this last minute show. He says, yeah, send me a picture and I'm going to put together a poster and email it to him. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what email is? You know what I mean? And even this guy is emailing an updated poster at the last minute so we could play this venue tonight. You know what I mean? And it's just like, crazy. By the way, happy Friday the 13th, Bob.
That's right. We are recording this on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, no, I mean, people are going to hear it on Monday. What's that, like whatever the date is, 4 days from now, 3 days
13,
from now?
14, 15, the 16th, yes.
Yeah, so hopefully, all is well. And but I just want to say that to you, Bob. Hi.
It's always good. I'm feeling lucky today. I don't know about you, but
hey, I got a last minute gig for tonight. I'm really lucky.
So here's my question. The question I wanted to ask earlier, or at some point in the show, was: has anyone that you've dealt with in the past 6 months even asked you for a physical anything related to promoting, booking, all that good stuff?
No.
Okay, there you go. I think that's the answer. So plastic is your answer, except in those situations where you print posters and I want to have something to hand somebody in a live networking setting.
I still say a business card. I think the postcard idea is cool, but you want to give something. You want to give people something they can put in their wallets, because granted, women have usually bigger wallets called purses, but you want to have the lowest common denominator. So business card size